Amazing that we're already here at May. I feel like the time just flew, but here we are. The Global Be Stand Up. Thank you all for joining. Can you guys put in the chat where you guys are coming in from? I know we have a few people today. If you want to put in the chat where you guys are from, that would be great. I see somebody already have their hand up. Leticia, do you want to go ahead? Do you have a question? No? Okay. All right. Put in the chat where you guys are coming in from. I'd like to see where people are from. Kent, United Kingdom. Awesome. Thank you, Matilda. Thank you for joining all the way from Kent. That's awesome. I really have desires of visiting the UK one day. I haven't thought of going to Kent, but now that you mention it, that probably should be one of the places on my list as well. Cynthia is from Spain. Welcome, Cynthia. Yes, and thank you also for being a part of the Back Office Club. We're very happy to have you there. Houston, Annie. Welcome, Annie. Annie's been with us before. That's awesome. Thank you, Annie, for joining us from Houston. We got Spain, we got Houston, we got Portugal. Oh my goodness. Wow, that's great that you guys are here. By the way, you guys were in a blackout for almost a day or more the other day, so I'm happy that everybody's okay and that it's all over. That's good. Middleborough, UK. Okay, good. Lots of UK people here. Awesome, awesome. Cambridge, the UK, also amazing. I really love my UK folks because you guys stay up really late to join my activities, and sometimes we have consults with people in my time zone at 6 p.m. It's like 11 p.m. in England, and they're still up and still awake and still participating. I'm like, oh my goodness. London, nice. Awesome. Lots of UK folks today. I'm very happy that you guys were able to join. Thank you so much. And for those of you who are in the YouTube Live, if you want to put in the comments as well, that would be great to see where you guys are from. Jersey. We got somebody here from Jersey. Thank you, Marie, for putting that in there. Awesome. Okay, so I'm a little under the weather today. I've had the flu for a couple of days now, and I got caught in the rain. Here in Atlanta, there's a lot of rain through the month of April and into May. So I got caught in the rain, and then I traveled, and then I was in different temperatures, and I don't know. It all culminated to me um, having the flu. And I guess when I was in the airport, too, the airport was crowded. That was not good. Somebody in that airport probably had the flu and passed it on to me as well. So doing my best, feeling a little bit better than I was last week, but still not there yet. So I'm going to be giving you my best, but I'm still a little bit sick, so bear with me a little bit. So what do we want to talk about? Yeah, Marie says, I'm glad I caught the live. That's good. I'm going to put this up anyway, so you'll be able to watch it afterwards. But the good thing about being on the live is you can ask a question and you can participate. And I'm happy. I'm happy to be able to share with you guys in person. So today we want to talk about what we normally do. Last month we had a guest who came in and talked to us about AI. And if you haven't seen that live, that's great to go watch that with Patrick. He walked us through some of the more common tools that you can use as a business analyst and making sure that you're staying on top of the game by being a part of the new wave, which is AI wave, right? So I remember going to dinner with my coworkers. We go to dinner and lunch all the time. So we went to dinner and we had this big discussion about whether or not AI was going to replace us. And in the dinner, we had POs, we had Scrum Masters, we had software architects, we had developers, all kinds of people. And it became a big discussion. But the end of it was that we're just going to become more AI enabled professionals. So we're going to use the tool to do more faster, right? So that's, we don't feel like it's necessarily going to replace us, at least not right away. But you definitely have to become more AI enabled. Like you're going to have to do much more tasks in a shorter time because you have the aid of AI. So it's great to watch that last BA stand up because that's where we talked a lot about the different tools that we have and the ways in which you can improve. Now, I know a lot of people who are here are either working in the field or trying to get started in the field. And I know also because it's May, we're about to come up on graduation. There'll be a lot of people who are leaving college and be looking like, okay, what do I do? What do I do with this degree I paid all this money for? How can I use it, right? So this stand up is going to be great because we're going to talk a little bit more today about the career. Um, we, when I have these stand ups, I always take it for granted that everybody knows me and everybody knows what I do, but I want to take a moment to reintroduce myself to everybody who might be new here. So I am Carolise Warman, and I've been working as a BA in different titles, but generally doing business analysis for over 15 years. And I've worked in different industries, mainly banking. I've worked in a little bit of e-commerce. I worked in sales enablement. I worked in customer support applications. I've worked just a lot of different things, right? And I've been able to craft and hone this career, and I've learned a lot of stuff. And I feel like it'll be great for me to help you coming up and also already working in the field, just to avoid the pitfalls that I fell into, all the gotchas that I had. I could help you to avoid that. So you can just, you know, take it and run with it. I feel that would be great for me to help the next generation and even my generation to excel in this field. I fell into business analysis kind of by the way. If anybody watched my origin story, I actually got hired for another job. I applied for another job, and then the person who was hiring me said, "You know what? I think you could be a BA. I think a BA would be a better fit for you." And that's why I landed in this career. I had a informatics engineering degree, and I didn't know what to do with it. I was like, okay, now I have this degree, I can write code. Okay, so I went down that road for a while writing code, and I found that I didn't like being stuck to my computer looking at code all day. I didn't like troubleshooting the code. I didn't like having to learn a new language all the time, the new syntax. I got the sense of object oriented programming, but I just didn't want to spend my life just me and this computer churning out code all the time in my little dark room. Right? I wanted to talk to people. And so I sought out something else. I did support for a while, and that was fine. And then eventually I landed into this BA role. And for some reason, I've always landed into banking and fintech. For whatever, no matter how I try to stray away, some job pulls me back right into that industry. So I'm just giving up. Okay, this is the industry I'm supposed to be in. So I work a lot with financial institutions. I've worked with credit unions. I've worked with large scale banks. I've worked with mid-sized banks. Just all kinds, wealth management, all kinds of financial products for both retail and business. So that's kind of my niche. That's where I've been. But it doesn't really matter the niche because the problems that we're solving as business analysts kind of scale across industries, right? So on this channel, what we do is we help aspiring business analysts and those who already have a job as a business analyst to learn some of the tips and the techniques to help you to also be successful. We help to provide information and help to provide case studies and discussion to help you who's just trying to transition into the field to have some background, have some examples to use in your interviews, to understand the world of a BA, to understand what are we actually doing in this role, right? What does it mean to be a BA? What's the day to day looking like? So we give you lots more insight. And I hope to think that I'm one of the people on the internet that you can trust to help to guide your career and help you to land a job. And one of the reasons why I like this role is because it's not monotonous. It's not like you learn it and then you just keep doing it in different projects, right? It's not an accounting job, for example. No shade against accountants, but you learn how to do the account, the balance sheet balances, and that's it. You know you're right, okay? Or if you do some kind of mathematical job, like you're a mathematician or you're doing something like that, you know it's right because it's an exact science. But with business analysts, it's not an exact science. You're applying analysis skills. What you did for the project yesterday doesn't mean it's going to work for another project coming tomorrow. So you always have to be on your toes. You always have to be thinking. You always have to be analytical. And your insight helps the projects to become successful. And the beauty of it is also that nobody really knows what the answer is. It's not like you join the project and you're being tested to see if you know how to do this. Nobody knows. We are all trying to achieve this big dream, this big goal of some CEO somewhere. And these are the steps we're taking to get there. Sometimes we go in a wayward direction and we have to self correct. Sometimes what we did didn't work, we have to throw it away and do something else. So we're all kind of just working together to get to this goal. The only thing we know is the goal we're trying to hit and probably the date we want to hit that goal, but how to get there, nobody really knows. So we go along, and the business analyst helps to drive the focus by having the right requirements, by talking to the right people, by bringing us all together when we need to be together, and documenting what's needed so that somebody else can understand what we have accomplished and how we got here, and somebody can pick up from where you leave off, right? So that's the gist of the BA role and how I can help you to be more successful in this role. So typically in our global BA stand-ups, we allow you to ask questions, especially around how to get started, or if you already have a job and you're working on a project and you're stuck, like how can I help unstuck you? What is the best technique for certain situations? So we'll get into that. But I wanted to talk a little bit today about just the BA role in general and some of the things that I've noticed that is happening in the career that I want you to also be aware of. So one of the things I've noticed over the last year, maybe 2 years, it's been happening for a while. But even though I noticed it for a while, I've just seen just a bigger push. And it's just something that we have to be ready to deal with, right? I have always said, hey, somebody needs to step in and help us to not have this challenge. But I've realized that nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to save us as BAs, okay? We're going to have to save ourselves. So, one of the things that I've noticed is that, um, and I'm going to stop sharing for a second. One of the things that I've noticed is that we are um, we're being bombarded with data analysis, right? So the data driven BA is here to stay apparently. I know it's two different careers. I've often said this. It's business analyst and it's data analyst. But the career has just become this blend, and a lot of the jobs are going to be asking you to have some data experience, right? Now, if you're an IT functional BA, you could probably escape that. But a lot of times you're just trying to land your first job. And if the job that they have requires some data analysis with it, you just have to take it, right? So with the economy and all the changes that's going on, the US has gone crazy. Okay, what is this? With the US going crazy, we kind of have to take what we get. And so part of the challenge is that we can't hide from the data analysis anymore. A lot of people don't like to do data stuff. I don't like it because I feel like it's just so mundane. But a lot of the jobs are asking you to have some data analysis skills. So knowing how to do SQL queries, knowing how to do Power BI stuff, Tableau stuff, even learning Python. Now, I'm not suggesting that you run off and go learn these things and go, spend a lot of money and do all of these courses. I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying have some awareness of these things. And to be honest with you, you can chat GPT away through a lot of things when it comes to data analysis. Now, you probably can't upload the full data set and get chat GPT to give you the result because the data might be private. But you can Google your way through it. Okay, how do I do an inner join? Okay, this is the syntax. How do I? You just have to know what you need to ask. A lot of what you're going to find in your career is going to be knowing the right question to ask. It's not even about knowing what to do. It's like, what question should I be asking to get to where I want? Because the answer is out there. You just need to ask the right question. That's where the whole prompt engineering comes around. But I want to encourage you that we're not going to be able to escape it, especially if you're new. If you're seasoned like me, you've been in the field for a while, you have all this experience, maybe you can get away with it. But if you're new and you're jumping into the field, you can't fully avoid the data analysis that's coming to bite you. AI and automation is coming also. We talked about this in our last stand up. You cannot avoid it. You cannot avoid it. You're going to have to learn AI skills. You're going to have to learn machine learning a little bit, and it's going to help propel your career. So it doesn't mean you have to become like super fancy engineer, but you have to learn to work with it so that when you're working with developers and software systems and tools that are being built with AI embedded, that you're at least aware of the lingo and aware of what they're talking about, right? So I'm not, again, people like to go to extreme and go do a whole career in this. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying just get familiarized enough to know what do they mean by generative AI? What do they mean? What are they talking about? What are the terms and jargons that's being used and what does it mean? You can find that out. Now, there's some other industry trends that's also happening that I've noticed. So healthcare is big for BAs. It's been big. It was number three. I did a study in 2021 about the top industries that are hiring B. At the time, it was IT, fintech, healthcare, consulting. It's changed a little bit, not much, changed a little bit, but healthcare BAs are really coming up. Fintech is still there. E-commerce and retail. E-commerce and retail is there, like your Amazons of the world. Manufacturing is coming up as well. And there's a couple of government organizations also that are hiring BAs. Now, the thing about the government organization, I know a lot of people they really love government jobs. There are people that really love government jobs, and I know why, right? By the way, check out my cup. It says business analyst because mind reader is not a job title. Okay. So by the way, you'll be able to get some of these cups soon. I'm going to have them on my. I'm going to have some merch. You'll be able to get some of these soon, so don't worry about that. But government jobs, people like to work for the government because when you work for the government, it feels like a safe job and you don't really get fired, and the government is not going to go bankrupt. But you've seen what has happened over the last couple months in America. Okay. So this idea of government job being safe, get that out your mind, especially if you live in the US. Get that out your mind. And we don't want a job where we can just sit and do nothing anyway. We don't want a job where we sit and we don't use our analytical skills. The government is becoming more modernized and efficient. And so they want BAs who can help them get there. They want to get rid of the old archaic processes because we have AI. We have AI. We can do things more efficiently, and they're getting on the train too because government spending, according to them, is out of control. So the days of just sitting down and just punching something and that's all they do every day, those days are going away. If they're still here in the government jobs, they're going away. So you need to be efficient and you need to help the organizations that you're with to be efficient. So government jobs for BAs is coming up as well. The other trend I've noticed is in terms of remote work and globalization. What I mean, so after the pandemic, as we all know, we all were like working from home, and we realized something that hey, I can work from home and be just as efficient as the people going into the office. So what am I going to the office for? And that happened for a couple of years, and then whatever reason, I think it had to do with taxes and commercial real estate prices. That's my own conspiracy theory. I think because of that, there's a push to get everybody to go back to the office. So now, if you want to get a job as a BA, you can get a remote job, but there is a much bigger push for hybrid. They want you in the office at some point. They want that building that they have paid all that money for to serve some kind of purpose. And there are some people who want you back 5 days, some people want you back 3 days, some people want you 2 days. My office has moved to 2 days. So I go to the office and I will tell you this, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I am the least productive when I go to the office. But I go because my CEO wants me to go. But I'm the least productive because when I'm at home, I get up, I get my daughter ready for school, I take her to school or she catches the bus. I come back. This is around 7:15. I log into my computer at 7:15. And I catch up on any emails, anything I didn't do from the day before. I get ready. Then I might go downstairs and make some breakfast. I come back upstairs, 8 o'clock, 8:15, roundabout. I'm checking some stuff. I've started working earlier than I normally would. And then sometimes I go over into lunchtime and I'm still in the lunchtime working because I don't even realize the time because I'm at my desk, I'm comfortable. And of course, there's multitasking. I'm going to tell on myself, of course, I do multitasking where I might have the washing machine running while I'm upstairs in a meeting. My washing machine is very far from my office, so no noise is going to disturb anybody, right? So I get to do more things personally as well as I get to do the job. But I am more relaxed, I am more focused, I'm able to do more and I work longer. I start earlier and I end longer. 6 o'clock, I could still be at my desk working. When I go into the office, after I drop my daughter at school, it's in traffic. And I live in Atlanta. That means traffic, 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 traffic. Atlanta traffic is world renowned. So I'm in, I'm in Atlanta. Um, uh, I'm in Atlanta and I have to deal with traffic and I get to work flustered. and then we all stop at 12 to go for lunch, because anybody who's in the office with us, we just go to lunch together. We come back and we're starting to watch. By the time you get to 4 o'clock, you're starting to watch your time because you want to get out of there before the traffic to go home. So you end up leaving 4:30, 5 o'clock, and you rush home and you're stressed out and you don't want to see your computer again, right? So you just feel you're more stressed when you go to the office. So everybody who says, "Hey, going back to the office is good," I don't agree. I think you get more out of your employees when they're actually working from home, because they give you more time that is not uh, going to be paid if you're a salaried worker, and you just feel more relaxed and you get more done for your business than you would if you go to the office. So that's it. All right. So other trends, I'm going to give you a chance to ask questions in a second. Just let me go through these. Some of the trends I've noticed. Certifications. People always ask me all the time, Carly, do I need to have a certification? You do not need the certification to get your first BA job. However, it does help you. And if you are going to do a certification, the CBAP is probably the most recognized. And then you have the PMI BA cert. And the rest of the certs that you guys are doing, you probably could just avoid them. Like, people are doing AWS certs, people are doing all kinds of other certs. Some of them are the agile certs. Okay, fine. You can do a Scrum Master cert if you really want to, or some other agile cert, but it's not going to be material for you getting the job. So you can do it if you want to feel good about yourself, but it's not going to mean that you with the cert is going to be more of a better candidate than the person without the cert. It's just, we're just not there yet. Let's just be real. Soft skills is the most important thing you need to have if you're in the job market. You have to be able to tell good stories. Storytelling of how you're able to help an organization or a project. And it doesn't have to be a BA related job to get to a good business decision. Storytelling about how your skills helped to improve something, right? Even a personal story, but the storytelling is important. People who, when they speak, you can't really follow their train of thought, is not going to go very far. So you really have to practice those things. So those are just some of the trends I have noticed in terms of BA. Soft skills, getting into the AI, getting familiar with it and comfortable with it. Basically working on, even if you don't have a job as a BA, but building the BA skills, the soft skills, the elicitation, good asking good questions, working with stakeholders, having good people skills. Those are things I think would be very helpful for you guys to master as you're looking into um, becoming a BA. All right, I'm going to pause here. I know you guys will be waiting. I want to pause here at the bottom of the hour and see if anybody has any questions for me on their career and what they're trying to do. And I'll be more than willing to answer for you. By the way, we do have an idea board that I think Joshua has posted in the chat. And this is where you can ask a question if you just probably don't want to say it out loud. But we do have an idea board that I'm going to share right now and go through this first. But if anybody has a question, let me know and I will definitely let you ask your question. Okay, let's start with the idea board first. So we have, it's like a stand up, right? This is a global based stand up. We have this idea board, which is just like a place to put your ideas. And we have what's going well with you in your career, what's not going well, and anything that's blocking you. And then we can come up with some action items that we can suggest, right? So this person says, I'm still excited about I think it should be BA or DA. It says DA, but I don't know if they meant to say BA. Training, I started some months ago and joined the back office club, and I'm excited about it. So it's BA. Yes, thank you for joining the back office club. By the way, guys, we have this club called the Back Office Club, and it is where you're able to have what I call continuous learning. So a lot of the courses that you do, the boot camps that you do, it's more kind of micro learning a lot, where you're learning about a specific thing, a specific technique, and how to work as a BA. The Back Office Club provides a continuous learning where you're learning actually how to do the role, and you learn so much more things than you would have learned in any class. But I'll get into that for a second. So I'm happy about this person who's joined the Back Office Club. And he says, I'm going confidence. I'm gaining confidence and understanding every day while waiting to land a role. Very good. Thank you so much. And then what is not going well? I get to do all the technical work, etc., but my team lead gets to be the face of my project. She's a control freak and wants things done in a specific way. She wants her two BAs not to be innovative. Oh my goodness, that's really bad. So, um, here's the thing, right? When you when you work with people, sometimes you might feel like they're stealing your thunder, especially when you have great ideas, you're innovative, you're thinking about new things, and you don't get the opportunity to directly say them to the people who can decide. You have to say them to somebody who's like your manager, who's intermediate in between, and that person has the ultimate opportunity to either recognize that the idea came from you or steal your ideas, pretend it came from them, right? That's happened to me a lot. But what I've found is I don't worry about it. When I have a good idea and I say to the person who is my superior and they take my idea and they run with it and they pretend it's their idea, I let them be. Because at the end of the day, the idea, all the little details of how to execute on this idea, because it's not their idea, they didn't think about that yet. So what's going to happen is they're going to run with the idea, and then they're going to get into some little gotchas, and then they're going to have to come back to me, and I may choose to help you or not help you. It's your idea, right? So finish it. Right? You can finish it, but at the end of the day, you're really looking towards the good of the company, because the company is what's paying you, and you're looking for the good of the project. So let's not get into kind of feel like it's my idea, it's my thing, it's really just a team effort. And the more you can just be open to that this is just a team effort. It doesn't matter who first came up with it, as long as it's done and it's working and it's good, we all benefit. Let's just work on that. Let's think about that. And in the end, it always works out for me. It always works. The person who tried to steal my idea and try to shun me, like they take your idea and then they try to cut you out of the conversation and try to do all this stuff, it never works out in the long run for them. Never. I've never seen it work out for them. So I'm not worried about it, because if I came up with such a good idea that you had to steal it, that means I feel good, because I can generate more ideas like that. You're just going to have to become a thief and try to come around and steal more ideas to do your job. But I'm the source. So I feel good in that, right? So I'm not really trying to. And eventually, the truth comes out. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. Just as long as it's helpful for the entire team, I think that would be okay. And if you have control freaks, they don't last long either. Because when people are control freaks, it's because they're insecure about what they know and what they can do. That's why they have to steal your idea, right? So don't worry about them. Their day is coming. All right. The other thing that's not going well for this person is here: recruiters chase for my resume, then vanish into thin air with no feedback. That's what this person says. Yes, recruiters will ghost you. Recruiters will 100% ghost you, and you're like, what happened? Like, you're rushing me and running me down for my email, my resume, and you want to talk to me. I give it to you, and then I never hear from you again. Gone, disappear. So you have to know that not all recruiters are made equal. Some people are just headhunters, and their job is to try to get as much people's resume as possible to show that they're doing some work. Sometimes the job disappears. Sometimes they change the budget. So you never know. It's kind of like dating, right? You go on a date with somebody, and first of all, they're calling you all the time. You're having a great conversation on the phone, and then you meet them in person, and you're like, "Whoa, that's a different person than what I always thought you were." And then they disappear, and they just like disappear, ghosted. And you can't blame yourself for that. That's just one of the things that happens in the dating world. So when you're doing a job hunt, expect that some of it is not going to pan out, and it's not necessarily your fault. If you give them the resume and there is no feedback on the resume, maybe you can reach out to them. Hey, I've sent the resume. Is there anything about the resume that may have caused some concern? Like, what's going on? See if they'll be willing to respond. Sometimes they don't even respond. You know, Recruiters are like that. So I would just say keep going, keep applying, and look for alternative places to apply as well, such as directly for the company, other job boards outside of LinkedIn, and see if you have a better luck there. This person said in terms of not going well. Um, Hiring managers are demanding domain experience and some job master's degree, some jobs master's degree, but I don't see it as a barrier. So, like I just said, with hiring recruiters and hiring managers and headhunters, they often sometimes don't even know what a BA does because it's such a fluid role. So they just ask for stuff. you know, they ask for stuff. I give this example all the time where when I was looking for a job years ago, and as you know, I have a lot of banking experience. I've worked on all kinds of banking applications and banking features and functionalities. And there was this one job that said they wanted me to have payments experience, right? Payments. So I was saying to the lady, well, I've worked on all these different applications. So yeah, that includes payments. Oh, but do you have payments? Like, are you working on a project that's just doing payments? And I was so like flabbergasted, like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm working on all of it, including payments and other things. So I'm like, yes, I do. But they were so stuck on just the word payments that when I said retail banking, it didn't make any sense to them. I said business bank, you have to use this word payments because that's what they're listening for. And I was just annoyed. I was very annoyed. And I didn't even want to get the job. It's like, if I'm dealing with a recruiter who is so like stuck. Like I don't want to deal with you. But sometimes when you're looking for a job, you just have to keep going with them, even though they seem to be stuck on something that's really silly, really, really silly. So not all recruiters are equal. Some of them don't understand the job market at all. So they'll ask you for things that don't even matter. Because as a BA, you don't need to have a domain experience necessarily in a specific domain to be a BA in that domain. I don't necessarily need to have experience in energy to work in an energy company as a BA. You, any of you, could work in banking. You don't have to have experience in banking necessarily because what you're doing is you're listing requirements, you're figuring out what the business needs, you understand what the developers' challenges are, you're communicating that back. It doesn't matter what you're building. They don't understand that. So don't be discouraged. If you have the domain experience, tell them that you do. If you don't, explain to them that your other experience is transferable towards this domain, and hopefully that will be enough for you to get through the door. Right? Here's this other thing that the person has on the idea board. Somebody else says, I have done everything wrong after I got a senior BA role and I'm about to lose my job. No, say it's not so. Say it's not so. Somebody needs to be on mute, by the way, in the call. Joshua, I think it's you. Please, please go mute. I'm going to mute you. Okay. So, yeah, that's really sad. Let me read it again. I have done everything wrong after I got a senior BA role and I am about to lose my job. I really am sorry to hear that. And I hope it's not true. I hope it's not true. But I will say this. If you've never worked as a BA before, taking on a role as a senior BA is going to be immensely demanding and challenging, and I do not recommend it. If you never worked in this field before, I don't recommend you just the first job as a senior BA because the learning curve is so great and the demand for the output is so quick. Like they don't have time to wait for you to get up the learning curve that you could find yourself working late, being burnt out, not understanding what to do. You're immediately put in the middle of everything, and everybody's looking for you for the answer. They're looking for you for the user story. They're looking for you for the requirements. They're looking for you for running the sessions, the refinement sessions. They're looking for you to figure out how we're going to approach. And these are questions that you can't just know overnight. It takes a while to get there. That's why a senior BA job, people want to get them because they pay so much, but they pay so much for a reason. If you're in the US, this is a six-figure job, 140, 130. That's the salary you're going to get for a senior BA. But the demand on you is extreme. And if you've never worked in this field before and you get a senior BA job, whatever you told them in the interview, and then you get in the job, you're gonna get into a lot of trouble. Now, if you have someone to understudy, which is rare, because as a senior BA, you're like leadership, right? You're middle management. They're just gonna give you a project and tell you to go with it, throw you in the sea, proverbially, right? So that's gonna be a little bit challenging. But I would say if you've worked in the um, if you worked in the field before, you probably could do this. Now, when you say everything wrong, I worry about that because I don't think you can do everything wrong. You must have done something right. You must have done something right. And most of the time, you you feel more pressure than you actually are exhibiting, right? Sometimes it's off. Not to say it's all in your head, but sometimes you internalize more of it than you need to. I would say you can always turn the ship around. Okay, if you feel like you're doing things wrong, let's start doing them right. Right? Let's have the right conversation. Let's meet with the right people. You can always change. If you feel like you're about to lose your job, you can make the change today. Okay, we had some challenges with these areas. Let's put some meeting on somebody's calendar. We need to meet and discuss this refinement. We need to meet and discuss these features. We need to stay tonight and write some user stories about stuff that you need to get done. Talk to whoever you need to talk to understand more of what is being like. You can make the change. I'm sorry that this person is not talking where I could find out more about what kinds of mistakes you thought you made, but you can always turn it around. And if you need more help, I'm here for a consultation. You can book one on my website. You can join the back office club. We have regular sessions. We have stand-ups twice a week where we talk about issues that you may be facing in your current job. On a Tuesday and on Thursday, we talk about how to help you land your next job. That's what we do on the Thursday. And every Wednesday, we have a specific training for an hour where we train you on a particular technique. Like in this one coming on Tuesday for the back office club members, we're going to be looking at how to take a Figma design, so UI design, and convert that from the UI to user stories so that the developers can work on. So we're going to work on that with a particular project that we're working on. So there's practical help out there for you. So I really want to encourage you that you can turn it around. You do not have to lose your job. Jobs are hard to come by. As you can see, recruiters are ghosting people. The economy's gotten really bad over the last couple of months. And so I don't want anybody to lose their job, not for something that you can fix and you have the help to help you fix it. So I'm here for you. If you need help, reach out to me, reach out to Joshua, and he can get you to connect with me. Okay, what's blocking you? So somebody says temporary employment freeze in Canadian government. I need a change of ministry. Okay, I didn't know that. I didn't know that the Canadian government has an employment freeze. I know you guys just had an election and there's some government changes happening over there. But like I was saying earlier, people always think get a government job, you'll be set. That's not the case anymore. That's changed. Okay, nothing is said anymore. So I'm sorry to hear that. But don't give up. Just keep looking, and hopefully, if you're in the job market, you can still get a job. All right. Lack of banking domain knowledge. I don't know why that would be a blocker. Yeah, if you're trying to get into fintech or any banking, um, again, you're a BA. You don't really need to know the domain itself. You just need to know the techniques for a business analyst that can be applied to any domain, right? So don't worry about that. Losing confidence and feeling that I might not be able to do the job and speak so confidently just like you do. Oh, well, thank you. It's a skill. Being able to speak with confidence and with conviction and with authority, it's a skill. And you're not going to master it overnight, but you're going to keep practicing. Part of what I want to do at the back office club, and which we have done, is when we have these stand ups that we meet with our members, we let the members run the meeting because you need to practice how to. Hold on, somebody's not on mute. Somebody was not on mute. I have to mute you. Okay, so you practice how to run the meetings. The only way you can become eloquent and speak well and use the right terms and feel confident, even something you've never done before. Remember, nobody knows the answer. We're all working towards this goal. So it's not like you can possibly do the wrong thing. Yeah, you can do the wrong thing, but like we're all kind of there together. The beauty of being a BA is that you bring the team together and you all take the decision together. So it's a shared responsibility, right? So you get to be as eloquent as you say as I am, thank you. But you do it by practicing, running meetings, volunteering, doing documentation even nobody asks you. Say, hey, I can take the notes for this and send the notes out. You practice these things. And after a while you start realizing it becomes second nature, right? So it's a practiced skill that you will get once you start practicing. So that's what we have on our idea board. Um, do we have any questions or anybody want to ask in the call? We can any burning question that you want to ask. Okay.
Hi.
Hey, go ahead.
Yes. So, you said we don't really need domain knowledge, but I mean, a lot of recruiters' jobs they're asking, especially financial, mortgage, healthcare experience. So, how do we get past this? Because even aside from just asking at the interview, like I went for an interview a couple of weeks back, and the hiring managers asked me to talk about projects that I've done in healthcare, but they were very specific about that. I'm pretty sure they wanted to just, to assess my knowledge of healthcare. That's it. So, how do we get past this problem,
Sorry about that.
challenge? Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're applying for, let's say, healthcare, and the job says must have healthcare knowledge,
Yeah.
then you're going to have some healthcare knowledge to be able to get to the interview, right?
Uh huh.
There are cases where they specify that in the job description, so you probably have to have some idea about it. But you can
Mm-hmm.
also let them know that, hey, you may have worked. If you have worked in healthcare, you can call that out. If you haven't, you can show how what you have worked on is relatable. Like, I haven't worked directly with patients, but I've worked with stakeholders. We've built so many different applications. We've been able to determine the best features and functionality that they want. And I know that that skill is applicable to healthcare as well. I know that it's just a matter of whether they're a patient or whether they're just a regular stakeholder. I know I could be able to do the same task I did over here in this role, right? So that's one way to get around it. But of course, they're going to feel like if you already know how to work with patients, you know how to work with tools like Epic and all these other things, maybe that would give you a little side of an edge. But I wouldn't disqualify myself completely because I don't have that domain. I would try to show more of my transferable skills from something else that I did and see if that would be enough for them to still give me the job, right? So that's one way
Yeah.
you can get
I
around.
think that the one like to one has experience with doctors, nurses, more. You're not gonna work directly with the patient.
Yeah, so that's why some
Yeah.
of the things that they're
Yeah.
looking for is not even necessary. It's not,
It's not, but
it's not
and
necessary.
that will be the second time that I would go for a healthcare interview and they would ask that. So okay.
Okay. All right. Well, all the best in the job. And again,
Thank you.
we'll see
Yeah.
you at the back office club, so you should be able to get some support with your job hunt. Okay.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else that have any other question?
Hello,
Hi.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. And then I'm super excited to be part of the Back Office Club. I've been following you for a couple of years, and honestly, I just want to say thank you for what you've been doing because your words have been quite empowering, inspiring. And some other thing that attracted me to you in particular is that you always talk about you're a Christian, and then you talk about being truthful. This is something that aligns with me and my belief. So using what Bella just asked as a reference or a case study scenario right now, let me say you've worked in a bank. as maybe a customer service, still remote job, or you haven't worked with that title BA. So how do you manage all of that? Do you just go outrightly and say, I haven't worked in the banking sector, I don't have a BA experience, and so that is it? How do you manage that? Still trying to be truthful and balancing it in order to, navigate the whole challenging situation we're recruiting and job search right now. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. That's a great question. So the thing about it is you could be doing business analysis without the title, because some of the companies, they give you a job role and they title the job how they want to title the job. But it doesn't always mean that's what you're doing. So, for example, in my job title right now, I have senior business analyst, but I'm scrum master, I'm product owner, I'm product manager, I'm project manager. I'm doing all of this different stuff. You're not always going to get the company to change your job title to match the work that you're actually doing. So I'm okay with if you feel comfortable that this is what I'm actually doing. I have customer support, associate, but I'm actually inquiring from the customer what their needs are. I'm trying to document in a support ticket. I'm reaching out to the people who can actually resolve it. I'm coming back to the customer. I'm doing all this solicitation and all this documentation. I'm actually doing business analysis. So I'm okay with tweaking the title of your resume to be more reflective of the actual work that you're doing, as long as it's something that you can still defend, you can back up. You can say this is the actual job, because a lot of the times you're doing the work and you're not getting recognized for it. And it's such a transferable skill, and a lot of what you're doing already includes business analysis. Most of you are talking to customers, most of you are eliciting requirements, most of you are documenting things, most of you are presenting from the analysis that you've done over the documents you've created. Why should you not get the benefit from those transferable skills? I think you can do that ethically by putting the title that better reflects what you actually do on your resume, and then in your bullet points highlighting the things that you did that are business analysis related. So you don't have to put everything you've ever done, or every job, that every task you've done in the job, but just the ones that draw out that transferable skills that you can then highlight in your resume. And that's perfectly fine, because when you go in to tell your stories, you're going to be telling stories about the job you've done, right? So you're not making up stuff. You're telling the same stories, but you're using the terms and the jargons and the experience that you have that's relatable to the BA role. So I'm perfectly fine with you renaming your title. Do you have any follow-up questions on that? Is that helpful for you, Cynthia?
Yeah, thank you. That's all right. I just joined, so I'm looking forward to more what I can enjoy from your wealth of experience.
Awesome. Sounds good. Any other questions? Let's see what's going on over here in the chat. Um, so here is a question from somebody who says, "I must I use the STAR technique to answer all interview questions?" Yeah, why not? I think it's, if they're asking you, and everybody know what the STAR is, right? Situation, task, actions, and results. And when people do my consult, I add another one, which is a C. So it's STARK, which is the conclusion, right? So if they're asking you a scenario-based question, a situational question, then you should use a STAR, because you need to quickly get them in the same headspace as you. You need to tell a story, and that's what we talked about, having good storytelling earlier. You need to tell a story from start to finish that they can follow, and they can draw from your story information about you that would help them to determine if you're the best person for the job. So they want to see your consistency, your determination, your creativity, your tenacity. All of these qualities is what the story has to tell. In all of your stories, you are the heroine or the hero. Nobody comes to save you. No manager jumped in from nowhere and just did it for you, right? You solve this problem by being creative, by being thoughtful, by being consistent, by being a good business analyst. And that's what the STAR method helps you to highlight. What were you doing? What was the task at hand that you had to do? What was the actions that you took? What was the action the other person took? What was the challenges you had to overcome? And what was the end result that you achieved? And then for me, I put the C for start because I wanted to tie it with a bow. It's not enough to just tell the story and okay, yeah, this is the result. The conclusion is that I learned from this experience is that blah blah blah. And you reiterate the conclusion because that's what you want them to walk away with. After they heard your story, what is the main point you want them to draw? You put that together and you tell them so they don't have to even think about it. They can draw it from what you've told them to draw. Like people want their brain to be free, right? You tell them what to think, they think it. So if you can do that in your interviews, I think you'll have much more success. So that's great. Um, Here's another question from somebody in our live. She says, I am transitioning from HR in the financial sector here in Nigeria to a BA role. Can you advise which industry I can get into as a starter? Any industry. The beauty about HR is that you learn people skills. You learn how to talk to people, you know how to diffuse people who are getting really angry, how to calm them down, how to find the best solution for their scenario. You're doing some analysis there. So you can be in any industry. You just have to pick the industry that maybe is more lucrative in Nigeria right now. Maybe something that's more aligned to your skill. If you want to come out of HR, but you want to still, deal with people, you could be an HR BA. Maybe that could be helpful. It doesn't matter what company. Every company has an HR department. Or maybe you want to go into directly into tech. You can get into tech as well. So if you're in financial sector, maybe you go into BA in a fintech, right? So there is a lot of opportunities for you. I don't know much about the Nigerian economy right now, so I kind of can't speak to that part. But I do know that you have transferable skills from working in HR. And if you're working in a financial sector, you can also leverage that to work in as a BA in fintech or in a bank or in any industry where some of that financial knowledge can be translatable, right? So I hope that's helpful for you. All right, guys, we're almost at the end. Actually, we only have 2 minutes left to end the Global BA Stand Up. I'm very, very happy that you guys were able to join. I want to encourage you. We have a sale before we go. I want to tell you about our sale. We have a sale today and for the rest of the month on our back office club. So if you go to backofficeclub.org and you go to our courses, we have some really good courses, guys. Really good courses that are recording some live sessions I've done in the past. And we have a huge discount on those courses. I can share with you right now. So this is let me share it again. 1 second. So we have some good discounts. You can get a bundle for all of our courses plus a consultation with me. That's a $4.99, so 6 courses and a consultation. But then we have these other courses: how to list requirements, how to write user stories. That's like $35. Be an interview for those of you going to interview and they're going to ask you to present a case study. This is a great example of how to present in front of a panel and take questions, how to do that. We have this one, just $19. Writing user stories for backend and API integrations, best practices for writing user stories, and basically how to work on a project as a BA. So that's $121. So huge discounts, high quality courses. When you go to the course, you'll be able to obviously take it at your own pace, but we have a lot of content in the courses, right? So you have a lot of videos. They're all like within, most of them are short videos, so you can take a short time to learn it. And the beauty of it is that we have a lot of Q&A in most of these that are questions that you probably have, and so you can hear the answers that other people ask. So I encourage you to go and check out these courses. They're all very good, very high quality, and that would be great for you to really cement your knowledge as a business analyst. So that's that. So that's what we have for today, guys. Thank you all so much for joining the Global BA Stand Up for the month of May. Thank you all. Thank you. And I hope to see you in next month. Every Monday, the first Monday of every month, at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be here ready to take your questions. If you want to join the live discussion, you can sign up on my website and join the meeting, and that way you can ask a question. But thank you all so much for joining. Thank you, guys.